of the news. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has announced an extension of its ongoing nationwide strike by 4 weeks. The decision was taken by the National Executive Council (NEC) meeting held on July 31st at ASU National Secretariat. NEC said the 4 weeks rollover strike starts from Monday, August 1st, 2022. ASU President Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, in a statement on Monday, indicated that the decision was taken at the end of the National Executive Council (NEC) held in Abuja. He said the NEC meeting was convened against the backdrop of government's obligations as spelled out in the Memorandum of Action it signed with ASU on 23rd December 2020. He confirmed that the NEC had viewed with seriousness the recent directive given by the President and Visitor to all federal universities that the Minister of Education, in consultation with other government officials, should resolve the lingering crisis and report to him within 2 weeks, and wondered why it had taken 5 months and needless muzzle flexing for government to come to the realization of the need for honest engagement. He said that NEC acknowledged the growing understanding of the issues and the groundswell of support for the union's principled demand for a globally competitive university education in Nigeria, insisting that Nigerian universities must not be reduced to constituency projects that merely exist on paper, and our scholars must be incentivized to stay back and work in Nigeria. Oshodeke extended the appreciation of ASU to the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and civil society organizations (CSOs) for their solidarity nationwide protest held last week with the aim of creating awareness on the antics of the Nigerian ruling class to destroy public education. He renewed commitment of ASU to the struggles of NLC in championing the cause of the working and suffering Nigerians. Similarly, no fewer than 63 bills have been tabled before the Senate and the House of Representatives for the creation of new universities, polytechnics, colleges of education since the beginning of shutdown of activities in public tertiary institutions in the country. In 2022, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, and Colleges of Education, Academic Staff Union have, however, warned the government against the establishment of new institutions while failing to fund the existing ones. Nigeria has a total of 49 federal universities. The official data from the National Universities Commission (NUC) also revealed that the country has 59 state universities and 111 private universities. The National Board for Technical Education also puts the number of federal polytechnics at 40, state-owned at 49, and private at 76, while a total of federal and state-owned colleges of health is 70. Nigeria currently has 17 private colleges of health. Also, the National Commission for Colleges of Education put the total number of colleges of education in Nigeria at 219. An analysis of the 63 bills on creation of new institutions being considered by both the Senate and the House of Representatives revealed that 26 bills are for federal universities, 32 bills for federal colleges of education, agriculture, health, technology, and forestry, among other specialized colleges. The lawmakers also proposed 4 bills for the creation of new polytechnics. And back home, Ogun State government has commended Beyond Remittance Group, BRG, for partnering into the Adopt a School program agenda of the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led administration in order to revive schools across the state. The Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abeokuta, gave this commendation during the launch of Summer Reading and Writing Program organized by BRG for students of Shimawa High School, Shimawa. Abeokuta revealed that individuals, all students, association, corporate groups have been joining hands together with government to ensure that schools are made conducive for teaching and learning activities while still calling for more synergy to revitalize the education sector.
To that agenda of this administration, which is to turn around things. We cannot continue to sit down to lament and complain about our situation. You have to be seen to be taking action. You have to be seen to be doing something to better the situation. Our aim is to make sure that Ogun State reclaims its position as #1 in education in Nigeria.
In his address, the Fadeshewa of Shimawa, Oba Gbenga Shonuga, appreciated the governor for the massive change being recorded in the state since inception of his administration, especially in the education sector, positing that with such interventions, students will be able to learn without any encumbrances. In his welcome address, the country director of BRG, Mr. Adekunle Adeyemo, said that the initiative was the organization's vision to help improve the quality of education and also create equity in the public primary and secondary school system in Nigeria. The 20 local government areas in Ogun State have received over 4 billion naira, which includes shares of statutory allocation, value-added tax, VAT, and exchange gain from the federal allocation for the month of July 2022. This was disclosed at the July 2022 edition of the Joint Account Allocation Committee meeting held at the Conference Hall, Obas Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Presenting the breakdown of the allocation, the Commissioner for Finance and Chief Economic Advisor, Dapo Ukubadijo, represented by the Permanent Secretary and Accountant General of the State Treasury, Mr. Babatunde Arebeshola, said the total sum of 4,337,539,229 naira are being required for the payments of first-line charges, which includes primary school teachers' salary, local government staff salary, pensions, traditional councils, and other charges, noting that the sum of 308,310,371 naira 68 kobo will still be needed to meet up with the gross payment. Ukubadijo explained that irrespective of the shortage, the governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, has ordered that the gross payment of salaries of workers should be paid effective from the month of July 2022, adding that all efforts are geared towards effecting this directive. In his address, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Kolawole Fagbo, employed all labor leaders to galvanize their members that all hands must be on deck to generate more resources and ensuring that all loose ends were worked upon so that more money could come into the government coffers. Chairman, Nigeria Union of Local Government Employee, Nolge, Comrade Ayuba Olatunji, and his counterpart, Chairman, Nigerian Union of Teachers, Comrade Akinola Abiodun, appreciated the state government for the payment of gross salary starting from the month of July as promised some weeks ago. Members of the Ogun State House of Assembly have examined the budget performance of the State Ministry of Agriculture with a charge on the ministry to take necessary measures towards preventing encroachment of government agricultural acquisition sites and farm settlements across the state. The House Committee on Agriculture and Forestry, led by Honorable Sylvester Abiodun, gave the charge while playing host to the ministry during the ongoing budget performance appraisal of ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs, at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Kolawole Osho's report is presented in this package.
In his presentation, the Permanent Secretary, Ogun State Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Dotun Shorunke, lamented the high rate of encroachment and insecurity around agricultural acquisition sites and farm settlements across the state, saying the collaborative efforts of the ministry with relevant security agencies had led to the prosecution of over 15 cases in the courts in the last few months. Dr. Shorunke also encouraged farm settlers to report any illegal activity on farm estates or farm settlements to security agents to avert crises and incessant killings. Reeling out the ministry budget performance within the period under review, the permanent secretary disclosed that over 85.389 million naira was generated into government coffers, explaining that the revenue came from personal taxes, general license, and fees, timber forest fees, sales of agricultural inputs, rent on government buildings, properties, and earnings from agricultural services. Chairman, Committee on Agriculture and Forestry, Honorable Sylvester Abeokuta, urged the ministry to redouble its efforts in warding off those engaging in illegal grazing of earths within the farm settlements, stressing the need to protect the various farm settlements from destruction in order to aid food security.
And we want you to adopt preventive measures. You can have task force. You go around, you know where these sites are. You go there, not until they destroy that, then you want to capture them. So let us adopt preventive measures.
The House Committee also examined the budget performance report of the State Ministry of Forestry, which generated a sum of 161.4 million naira between January and June, which represented 78% of the expected revenue for the year, as presented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Alhaji Lateef Benson. According to the Permanent Secretary, the revenue was achieved through the aggressive monitoring of activities of timber contractors and penalizing those engaging in illegality, as well as ensuring compliance with prompt payments by lease on government land and allocation of new leasehold. Other agencies that have their budget performance appraised included the State Forestry Plantation Project, Area J4, State Agricultural Development Program, OGTV, the State Agricultural Development Corporation, the State Cassava Revolution Program, State Agro-Service Corporation, and State House of Assembly Service Commission, as well as the State House of Assembly.
You are still watching OGTV News. Just ahead, Inec ends current voter registration exercise. We will bring you the details. Now, Prince Dapo Abiodun has presented 13 SUV jeeps to the judiciary as part of efforts to aid justice dispensation in the state. Governor Abiodun, while handing over the keys to them through the Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dikpeolu, noted that his government considered the welfare of judiciary as utmost priority. Governor's Office correspondent Yusuf Ganiu reports.
In fulfillment of his promise to the judiciary in the state, Governor Dapo Abiodun has handed over 13 SUV jeeps to the judges through the Chief Judge of the state as a way of enhancing justice dispensation across all strata.
So on behalf of the executive and my team, please accept this generous donation.
Governor Abiodun said his administration is highly committed to judges' welfareism.
You know that in the recent past, we have undertaken a lot of initiatives to further support the ease of dispensation of justice in Ogun State. So this is one of several other commitments that we've made to our judiciary that we're fulfilling today.
The Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dikpeolu, appreciated the magnanimity of the current administration towards making judges work without hindrances.
Excellency, thank you very much for fulfilling this promise. And like His Excellency said, taking delivery of these first 13, the others that are due will be hopeful that theirs will soon arrive.
She also assured the government that the judicial system will continue to discharge their duties effectively. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec, has ended the current continuous voter registration CVR exercise. This is despite pleas from Nigerians and relevant stakeholders urging the Commission to extend the deadline. The Commission had declared that the exercise will officially end on July 31, 2022. Prior to this notice, Inec extended the June 30 deadline but did not stipulate when the exercise would officially end. As at last week Monday, July 25, about 11 million Nigerians have been added to the new voter register since the exercise began in June last year. Data from the Commission also revealed that 10,487,972 new registrations were recorded, with 3,391,940 registering via online and 7,619,179 through physical registration. According to the Commission, the gender breakdown of the registrants that have completed their registration comprised 5,453,071 males and 5,558,048 females. The released statistics also indicated that 7,828,570 of the figure are youth, while 80,101 are persons with disabilities. The update also revealed that INEC had received a total of 28,453,255 applications, including applications for voter transfer, requests for replacement of permanent voter cards, PVCs, and updates of voter information records, among others. After 15 years, Nigeria is set to go for another census. This is to help the nation with the accurate data of the number of people residing in it and plan for development. Matthew Shomi takes a look at the implications of the census exercise on national planning and items to be included in the data collection. His report.
As a procedure of systematically calculating, acquiring and recording information about members of a given population or an enumeration of people, houses, firms, or other important items in a country or region, census has been a major instrument of national planning and development. The conduct of different censuses in Nigeria has not been devoid of political, ethnic, and cultural coloration, resulting in the outcomes that have largely been met with non-acceptance or acrimony, which somewhat defeat the very essence of the exercise. The last census conducted in 2006 by the Chief Olusegun Obasanjo-led administration has been the only census that has been accepted by the nation, but not without some level of skepticism by the people regardless.
The technology as it was then was used to get, for the first time in our history, census that did not lead to serious acrimony.
With the trial census ongoing across the local government areas that have been chosen in different regions of the country, all is set for the conduct of the 2023 National Population Census in Nigeria.
The questionnaire is designed to be able to know who have gone to school, who have gone to school and have not been employed, who have skipped school.
We've been able to do the trial census, and we have been able to face some of the challenges, and all the challenges we face there, we have written them down, we have noted them.
Nigerians have been speaking on the importance of the census to national planning, especially at this critical moment the nation is being faced with various security challenges.
The purpose of census is for development, for planning. And so even if we have foreigners in our land, the census should be able to take care of how many foreigners do we actually have in our land.
Countries need census figures for planning and for growth purposes. What we have seen over the years is that we have not been able to pin down Nigeria's population.
Opinions also differ on whether the issue of religion should be included in the data collection.
In the preparation, we had people who said, well, if religion will be added, then there will be no census.
Let us even know what the facts are. I mean, that does not mean we will not use it the way we should not use it. I mean, that doesn't mean it should not become the basis of everything that we want to do. But let us at least be able to know so that we can position ourselves well. I don't see any problem with it, but we should also extend it to people that are neither Christians or Muslims. We also have them in this society.
It should not be. Those things are the things that are dividing us. They are divisive. And so all these divisive tendencies should not be part of our budgeting. It should not be part of our planning. It should not be part of the census.
This will mark another step towards the conduct of the exercise that will give the nation the accurate data of the people residing in it to help in planning for development. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
The National President, Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Uche Ojema, has urged the federal government to consider privatizing the nation's hospitals so they may perform optimally. Dr. Ojema said this had become necessary for both the teaching and public hospitals to guarantee the needed fund for their respective operations. He noted that as far back as 2014, the association wrote a compendium on how to fix these teaching hospitals and public hospitals, and there are two options if the government wants to fund it properly. One of the options is for government to go for 15% of the national budget for the health sector and also release the budgeted funds, because budgeting is different from cash backing. Dr. Ojema added that if government can fund it well and release the necessary cash to back it up, then these institutions can come up to speed. He said that with this, the government could demand accountability, while the other option was privatization. In this case, Ojema said that it could be outright privatization, where the hospitals could be fixed and then sold. He said the other option for the government is to go for graded privatization, where it sells 51% of the shares. Nigerians have continued to express their views on the federal government's consideration of a possible restriction on use of commercial motorcycles. The federal government had announced that it was considering a ban on motorcycles as part of a strategy to cripple terrorist activities in the country. Bumi Adegun captured the mood of motorcyclists whose major source of living is this business. His report.
They have been given many names, mostly bad, because of their reckless way of riding. They are popularly known as Okada, and they are always available to convey people to their different destinations if you have the mind of riding with them. There has been so many laws put up against the operations of motorcycling in Nigeria. But the more the laws are being made, the more people begin motorcycling business caused by unemployment. As we have riders who are graduates and they make a living through this business.
The number of people doing this business that I supervise are more than 125. Most of them are family men.
You find them at junctions leading to your streets, and they have been helpful as they reach the remotest areas that are not accessible. Just recently, the federal government raised an issue again, although it sounds odd, but the ban on commercial motorcycle operations they plan to carry out. There has been mixed reactions that the ban may not see the light of the day, as these matters the government can resolve without throwing the baby away with the bath water.
We have graduates who are our members. Some of us may not be as lettered as they are, but I want to let you know we have people who are well-read doing this business due to the situation of the country.
Lawal Kazim is an administrative officer in one of the public schools and also a rider, and also Abiodun Michael, a student of Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. Both appealed to government not to scrap the business.
I want to implore the federal government that they should not ban Okada as far as Nigeria is concerned and Ogun State.
I'm sponsoring myself. I have a wife, 2 kids. So this is what I do for the meantime now, to sponsor myself and feed my children, pay my rent. So if they scrap the bike, most of these people here will go back to their village Most of the youths here doing these things now, they will put them back to the street again.
As we did now, we get family to sponsor. If there's no work, there's nothing we can do.
The national president of Amalgamated Commercial Tricycle and Motorcycle Owners, Repairs and Riders Association of Nigeria, Akomara, Alhaji Shamsuddin Akpelugu, has warned that the proposed ban will throw 40 million Nigerians into the job market.
Banning motorcycle is not peculiar to those they are using it for business purpose. This is a nation problem. If something will affect nothing less than 60 million Nigeria, definitely it's like they want to add salt on the injury of Nigerians. Cutting head never be the antidote to the headache.
The state chairman of the same union, Kayode Shomi, is also pleading with the federal government.
Banning Okada, which most of the people have been using to live on, feeding their family, making a social lively to the people. I don't think that it will be easy for our people in that way if the federal government makes us things to reality.
They asked the federal government to perish the idea of a blanket ban on the operations and rejig the security architecture to tackle Nigeria's security challenge. Bumi Adigun, OGTV News.
The maiden statutory meeting of the new Olowo of Owo, Abeokuta, Oba-elect Saka Adelola Matemilola, and the Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Michael Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, has been held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The Balogun of Owo Kingdom, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, said the new Olowo of Owo, Abeokuta, has traditional and modern rites to perform, which include the visit to Alake and an introduction to his chiefs and subjects before a 2-month seclusion for traditional rites. Fowora Adesonwo reports on how Owo Kingdom was set agog on the new monarch's arrival.
A date with history. After about 8 months interregnum, the new Olowo of Owo, Abeokuta, has been statutorily introduced to his chiefs, people, and Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the Balogun Owu, received the new Olowo of Owo, Abeokuta, Oba-elect Saka Adelola Matemilola, in his residence alongside the kingmakers of Owu Kingdom, the high chiefs and religious leaders, early Monday morning, 1st August 2022, barely 8 months after the demise of Oba Adegboyega Dosunmu, who joined his ancestors on the 12th of December 2021.
And today, he has been able to put an indelible mark in his name as Balogun, who has installed 4 Obas.
After about a 7-minute discussion behind closed doors with the kingmakers, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo emerged with the new monarch and wished him and the people of Owu well, saying that the new Oba was selected, having emerged the most qualified amongst the contestants.
I'm so happy and I give praise to Almighty Allah.
We feel very happy about today, that we're alive to witness today.
The Balogun of Owo, Abeokuta, who was the head of the kingmakers, acknowledged the support of the government of Ogun State, adding that without their approval from the government, nothing would have been possible. The Akogun of Owu, Abeokuta, Chief Ishola Akinshipo, led the new monarch to the Alake's palace in line with the modern rites and statutory declaration.
United we stand, united we fall.
The Oba-elect Adelola Matemilola thereafter headed to Okeago, where his subjects gave him a rousing welcome into Ikwebi, the seclusion house where the Oba-elect is expected to undergo traditional rites under the Abore of Owu Kingdom.
Naturally, the declaration has so many items. We have complied with just one or two.
Some of the people of Owu Kingdom interviewed are optimistic that the new monarch will be a blessing to all and sundry.
First and foremost is to get the support of the people, of his chiefs and his people.
We have a professor, you can be very sure that it's going to be very big.
The Olowo of Owu is one of the first-class monarchs in Abeokuta metropolis. Adefowora Adesanwo, OGTV News.
Constant, concentrated efforts of the public remains paramount in complementing government efforts in every parastatal. This was the crux of the courtesy visit of the Abeokuta Club of Charity Organizations in commemoration of the club's 50th anniversary. Aderunke Adeyemi reports.
Abeokuta Club was established 50 years ago to satisfy the yearnings of an all-inclusive club for Abeokuta indigents. As part of the activities planned out in celebration of this golden jubilee of the prestigious organization, members of the club visited different charity organizations situated within the state. Stella Obasanjo Home was the first stop for the members of Abeokuta Club, followed by another visit to Leper Colony, Iberekodo, with members bearing gift items. Representatives of the homes visited thanked the ever-present presence of the club with constant provisions.
We want to say thank you to Abeokuta Club because this kind of visit has become something of the norm for them to bring relief materials to this colony.
I say thank you for deeming it fit to come to our shelter to give us all this. God will replenish your course.
President Abeokuta Club, Engineer Tokumbo Odebumi, also described the several itinerary planned for the week as one geared towards the act of giving and revolves around public participation.
So in appreciation to what God is doing for us, I want to appeal to the general public that they should move closer to these people, support them in whatever their any of needs are, and so that we can all join hands and make the world a better place. Let's share love. Let's express appreciation to each other.
The final visit was to the palace of Alake of Egbaland, in showing their support to their patron, the Olowu of Owu elect, Aderunke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
In furtherance of its zero tolerance for corruption, authorities of the Nigerian Navy have charged 13 officers and ratings before a general court-martial at the Western Naval Command headquarters in Lagos for offenses ranging from conniving with crude oil thieves and pipeline vandals and other maritime infractions. A senior among those facing the naval court-martial were some officers who connived with people of some oil-producing communities in the Niger Delta, including traditional leaders, to operate suspected illegal refineries with siphoned crude oil. A senior officer said the Navy has routinely warned its personnel to desist from any act of involvement or compromise with oil thieves. As a matter of fact, to demonstrate the zero tolerance of the Navy for crude oil theft, some officers who at a time were alleged to be complicit were presently facing charges before a court-martial. However, naval forces fighting to rid the nation's maritime domain of criminality have successfully foiled oil thievery, illegal oil bunkering, and pipeline vandalism and stealing of crude oil and its products worth over 25 billion naira since April this year. In this regard, the Navy has destroyed 278 illegal refinery seats, arrested a total of 85 suspects, impounded 72 arrested boats, 23 vehicles and tankers, destroyed 127 illegal refinery ovens, destroyed 102 illegal refinery large pits, destroyed 148 illegal refinery storage tanks, recovered 41 outboard engine and 35 pumping machines. Next is Business News with Dominic Agbeha. Stay with us.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited remitted a total of 2.7 billion naira into its account with the Central Bank of Nigeria from January to June this year. A document of NNPC remittances to CBN seen in Abuja showed, contradicting the claims of CBN that the weakening value of the naira was caused by the non-remittance of funds to Nigeria's foreign reserves by NNPC. The document stated that out of the $2.7 billion the oil firm remitted into its CBN account, $645 million was for dividend paid by the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Company Limited. It added that $786 billion was from the operational activities of the National Oil Company, which recently transited into a limited liability company. In its reaction to the crash in the value of naira against the United States dollar, the CBN had said the non-remittance of dollars by NNPC precipitated the forex crisis. The federal government of Nigeria has banned the importation of subscriber identity modules, SIM cards. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, made the announcement on Monday in Oniru, Lagos. He spoke at the Nigerian Telecommunications Indigenous Content Expo, organized by the Nigeria Office for Developing Indigenous Telecoms Sector of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Pantami said Africa's biggest country should not be importing things that could be produced within. Pantami urged stakeholders and citizens to support government's effort to boost local patronage and consumption. In a bid to enhance maritime security, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency has signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Institute of Transport Technology, Zaria, on research training towards enhancing maritime safety and security in Nigeria. This was contained in a statement by the Assistant Director, Public Relations, NIMASA, Osagi Edward. According to the statement, the Director General, NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, and his counterpart at NITT, Dr. Bayero Salifara, while signing the documents in Zaria, said that the MOU is hinged on research and training with a view to enhancing local content and boosting the quality assurance of the Institute. Finally, on the business segment of the news, experts at the African Development Bank and International Monetary Fund, IMF, have called for urgent mobilization of climate financing for Africa to achieve sustainable growth. They made the call at a panel discussion on the African Development Bank's 2022 African Economic Outlook hosted by the IMF in Washington, USA. African countries need $1.6 trillion yearly between 2022 and 2030 to meet their nationally determined contributions to fight climate change, according to assessment by development institutions. AFDB's acting chief economist and vice president, Professor Kevin Urama, told The Guardian that Africa has a huge comparative advantage to lead the world in this new green transition, except that it lacks the required capital to do so. And that's the size of the business segment of the news. Many thanks for watching. The rest of the bulletin continues with me, Abo.